Hey knitters, it's Mimi with Pastiche Knitwear. Today's video tutorial is going to show you how to pick up a dropped or misworked double stitch, whether the double stitch has been created from a knit stitch or a purl stitch. Since you would not be looking at this video if you hadn't done some German short row, you know that the double stitches created from a purl stitch and a knit stitch do not look the same, and they're also not fixed in the same way. And I wanted to acknowledge and thank some of my lovely viewers who pointed this out to me in my previous video that had only addressed one side. I had suggested that they could just turn the work around, but that does not work. So I went to work and I did some analyzing, and I wanted to show you the results. So you can see here in my sample that I have done 2 double stitches on each side. And so that's going to give us a chance to do them more than once and make sure that you feel comfortable in doing this. So I have worked back to the spot over here. Now this one was actually worked on the purl side. These are double stitches over here that were worked on the purl side. So if we look at this, what we can see is we have the stitch in the body of the work, and then we have this sideways loop over here on the right side. So the stitch is on the left and this loop is on the right. So we're just going to place these back on the left hand needle kind of in order. And this one is easy enough to do with your needle tips. So we're just going to come with the right needle tip. I'm going to come behind this front strand and then to the left of the strand on that the second stitch, and then scoop around that back leg stitch and pick that up. And you can see if I compare it with this other stitch, it looks right. Okay, so let's go ahead and when you do this, you would obviously slip it back on that left hand needle tip to work. So let's work through this just to make sure that when we reincorporate it looks right, and we'll work up to this second one and then we'll do that one. And when I look at that, that looks good. So let's do it again. So we have the loop on the right hand side, the stitch on the left hand side. I'm going to pick them both up, slip them both back on that left hand needle with my right needle tip. I'm going to come behind the front strand. I'm going to come on the far side here, like knitwise, coming in knitwise. And then I'm going to grab that back leg and just come behind it in between the two and set that back up there. Now I replace it back on the left hand needle because I have to work it to reincorporate it. I feel like I'm splitting that. Hang on just a second here. Whoops. Okay. Okay, this is real life, people. Okay, let's do that again. And then I'm just going to come behind here to replace. And I'm going to reincorporate that, and you know that you just come under both legs of the stitch to reincorporate. I'm doing a little, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm doing a little edge stitch there. So now let's come on back and we're going to fix the ones on the other side. This is this selvage edge I really like. It's new to me and I just did a video of it. And so I'm doing it on this piece. I don't know why, just because I took a wild hair to do it. So now we're just going to purl up to the double stitches on the other end. Now, my first video addressed these double stitches, and this is the new part. So, and then this would be true, this would be the fix that you would do if you're doing garter stitch with double stitches. This would be the way you would have to fix all of those. Okay, so here we are, we're right here, and then we're going to turn it around because I'm going to work the fix from the presentation side. Okay, so I'm going to drop this off and deconstruct it, and you'll see on this one that the stitch that corresponds to the body is on the right hand side and this loop is on the left hand side, so it is the opposite of the way it was on the other end. So I'm going to use my handy tool because I find it a little easier on this one. I'm going to rescue this loop coming in from front to back, making sure I don't twist it, and I'm going to pick up one stitch from the bottom strand of the loop. And then I'm going to put that stitch back up on the needle. Make sure you come in the front of the stitch so that it's mounted properly. Now we're going to flip this over And I can see here, this is the top of that strand, that loop that we had. And all we're going to do here is to bring that around and drop it up on the tip of that left-hand needle, so your left needle tip's coming in from behind it, like so. And if I compare it with this one here, it does look the same. So now let's go ahead and work it. So that means I would replace those stitches back on the left-hand needle and work it, and then let's purl 2 more stitches, and then let's turn around and take a look at it. And sure enough, it looks really good. So let's do it one more time. We slip this off, and we're going to deconstruct this. And remember, the loop is on the left-hand side, the knit stitch is on the right-hand side. I'll show you how to do it with your knitting needles if you feel comfortable with that. Just come and use the bottom strand of that loop to pick up the stitch, come in the front of the stitch when you replace it, and then you grab this strand right here. It is the top of that loop, and then the left needle tip comes in from behind, and we just drop it up here on the needle. Let's finish that off, and then we'll just take a look at it. Okay. And look in just a little bit, so you can see everything worked really well. So thank you again to my viewers who helped me out with this, and I hope you give this a try, and please let me know how you do with it. Thanks a lot.